Hello, guys, and welcome to the live stream. Hope you're all doing well. My name is Daytrade Jeffrey, and I will be your chargist for today. Before we begin, a quick reminder I do have a traders community. It's completely free, and the link is in the description. Without further ado, I really want to get to it. I want to start off with Bitcoin, and then we're going to go over some positions that we have and that I'm currently eyeing so that we can make the best use of our time. So, as I said, I want to start off with Bitcoin. Bitcoin made a thrusting wedge. It's kind of like an ascending wedge, which usually, if you have an ascending wedge, and let me just draw this out for you, it's going to look somewhat like this, and the price will usually bounce between the lines and drop to the downside. In this case, something else happened. The price just bounced between the lines and it went to the upside. That makes this a thrusting wedge, which is a bullish pattern. As you can see, right after breakout, it managed to make really good gains on Bitcoin. Right now, I am eyeing this ascending triangle. Ascending triangles differentiate from wedges by having a flat top line and an ascending bottom line. Usually, these patterns will form a bullish outcome, which should look something like this. And that's what I expect to happen here as well. Um, and you cannot really see it on this picture because this is the 4-hour time frame. I want to take this trade a little bit more short term. But there's actually a Fibonacci level here at 9630 USD. And that would really be my target if we manage to break to the upside. This would make a nice gain of 17%. Of course, if you trade it with BitMEX, 5x leverage, that could be a 100x trade, somewhat nearby. Wouldn't really recommend taking the leverage higher, but it would make for a really good trade. The other possibility that I can, see playing out here is a double top. Let's go to the bearish side. We might have a double top. And in that case, I believe that we are going to be looking at something closer to this scenario. Now, as you might notice, this scenario is far more scaled into time. This is a daily chart. And what I really want to show you guys here is the logarithmic move that Bitcoin is making. And really, I just copied the previous bear market, the complete bear market, and managed to pull off a chart right at the start of the next bull market. And that's what I did here, which really shows that we might be touching this bottom trend line again. Can't be sure, obviously. Also, I don't expect a drop like this. If we are going to copy the start of the previous bull run, I expect this sharp drop to be very, very residual, very slow, eventually touching it around 5.5K, after which we might be able to start our bull run again. Now, this might seem bad, but it really is not, as I've told you guys before. And I just got to get my data and price range. In this part of the bull market is where the really interesting stuff happens. These crazy alts that are exploding, massive gains. So that's where we want to be. We want this to happen, or at least I do. So that's really my long-term outlook. My short-term outlook is still bullish. On the short term, it's looking good. But if we manage to break this trend line right here, then I might have a change of opinion. Obviously, I can't be sure yet. And yeah, that's pretty much it for Bitcoin. I'm just gonna go over to my phone and look at your guys' reactions. Please let me know. Are you guys currently hearing my voice? Do you hear me? Yes, you do. Okay, that's very good. That's very good. Now, the next position that I really want to take you guys over is, let's see, let's take TRX-USD. Actually, for this trade, I'm gonna take TRX-BTC. There we go. So this is really my view on TRX currently. Okay, so at this very moment, we have managed to touch this big support line, which was set at the beginning, or yeah, the beginning or the end of 2017, beginning of 2018, has never been broken, and the price just descended into it. And this is obviously the daily chart, but let me take you to the 4-hour chart. And what I possibly see happening here, and I say possibly, is the formation of a broadening wedge. Now I should really take this out of log scale, sorry about that. I'm not taking into account these big spikes here. If I did, it wouldn't really be any different. But I really want to take those out because these are just very sharp spikes in price, and I will do the same at the bottom. But regardless, as far as I'm concerned, this is a broadening wedge. Now, if we take the indicator, RSI, Relative Strength Index, well-known indicator, obviously, you will also notice, and I'm showing this on the 4-hour, but you can also see this on the daily because there shouldn't be too much candles in between the two price points, but it's also visible on the daily. You can see that we have a bullish divergence. The RSI did not make a new low together with the price action, and this would make for a bullish divergence and is often followed by a bullish rally. Now, where could this take us? Now, if you're thinking really short term, if you're trading on BitMax, you just want to take the wedge. And a good target would be number one, the 618, situated at 400 Satoshis. And number two, if this is actually going to occur, would be the 786. This is situated at 429. So write that down if you have to, 400, 429. Now, if you're thinking a little bit bigger, obviously I'm really thinking a little bit bigger because this entire move managed to push the price down 62%. So if we get a bullish reaction, I think it is going to be a little bit bigger. Then this could be the start of a bigger rally, just the same as every time the price has managed to move into this support zone. Now this would bring me to the 1618, and this is currently sitting at 550 Satoshis. Um, yeah, Jenny, I hope TRX dies as well. I'm not a fan of it, but I'm a fan of making money, so anything that will make money, um, except Bcash, of course. I would feel really bad if I made money of Bcash. I'm sorry for you Bcash lovers, but that's just my opinion. That's my second target for the longer term. So, and in a way, this wouldn't really be different from the previous price accumulation and big bull run. As you can see, there was a broadening wedge here, and right after breakout, this is the short-term trade. That's about 26%. That's what I'm aiming for first. The long-term trade is obviously this whole bullish move that came afterwards. Now, this was in a big bear market, so I'm expecting it to go a little bit faster now, considering that the market has turned a little bit. Yeah, I will talk about Matic, but this is mainly what I'm eyeing. Now onto Neo. Neo was requested by a member of the campus. Obviously, you can go into Crypto Campus and request your own stuff. There we go. I can see currently the same thing happening for Neo, for the main reason that this is a dramatic price drop of 90%. What am I saying? 92%, which is really sad. Obviously, I do like Neo, and we managed to just briefly push between this support zone right there, and we're now below it. And I think that it would be very logical if a bullish reaction formed, especially during this market. So on the short term, first out, this is a trade that I'm currently taking, for which we will go to the 4 hours. On the short term, you can see that we are already breaking out of this broadening wedge. And my targets are 0.0017 Bitcoin and 0.0018. These are my leverage trade targets, and this is what I'm aiming for. This would make a lot of sense to me, especially now that the whole market seems to be turning bullish. These are leverage trades that I'm taking, not recommending that if you're new to crypto. On the longer term, there's also a play inside. I really want to go to the weekly for this. There we go. If this manages to be a bullish upthrust, and we do manage to get out of this accumulation zone, because I think that's what it is. I think this is like a final death drop before, getting back to some bullish moves. And for this to happen, I would probably say that my long-term target, so keep in mind this can take weeks, potentially months, for the next run is going to be the 618 of the last drop, situated at 4,500 satoshis. Now obviously I'm not taking this trade with any leverage, and this makes a very good trade, because if you get into this trade and we take our long tool, obviously we can set our stop just below this bottom right here and are long at the target, and this makes for a risk reward ratio of 6.5. So you stand to gain 6.5 USD for every dollar you gain to lose. So this is a very safe trade in my opinion. I think it's definitely worth taking, and that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm definitely doing right now. On to the next trade. EOS paired against Bitcoin. Big fan of EOS. Let's go to the 4-hour trade. And it's funny because often when a market reversal happens, and I've seen this before, a lot of the same patterns can be found. Like a lot of the same stuff, or the same bullish patterns that are being created can be found in the market. And for EOS, I believe that it's sort of the exact same story. Let's go to the daily for this one. There we go. Managed to go back into our accumulation zone. Now for EOS, this is a very wide zone, but I don't really take into account these breakdowns here because that would make it a little bit too wide. I believe that this is the accumulation zone for EOS. We managed to touch it. We managed to get there. And right now the market seems to be turning. We have made a higher high on the RSI, which is obviously good news. And just the same as with everything else, we've broken out of the trend channel. I don't really see any kind of broadening wedge, but what I do see is that EOS was clearly trading in a trend channel. And let me clear this up for you guys. I'm sorry. And it managed to break out. Now, I really do believe that this will be part of a larger breakout, because the price after this massive crash had time to accumulate in the lower zones of about 7,000 satoshis or 6,000 satoshis, and it already did that. So afterwards it made a good bullish run, and I believe that it's now time to go higher. Now for this, my target will be in USD, and I'm sorry, sometimes I trade in USD, sometimes I trade in Bitcoins, but that's just because it's not always possible to take the leverage that I want on certain exchanges. Now, if we take EOS USD and we go to the 1 day, you will find this massive inverse head and shoulders, which is, in my opinion, really bullish. I can make this look better. And if this head and shoulders were to play out, and I believe it will, because we broke out here, managed to do a retest, put down this big green candle, and it's just moving upwards from here. Now this would take us to a target of 9.8 USD, and I'm really confident about this one, for the reason that this is about as as bullish a pattern that you can find. This is this huge inverse head and shoulders spread over the course of let me take this to a year. Like it took like 300 days to form this head and shoulders. So I'm expecting a big bullish reaction. Definitely taking this trade on BitMEX with some good leverage. So I'm very happy about this. So we're gonna go on to the next part. Just give me a second. Gotta pull up some requests that were done in the general chat. Once again, if you're just tuning in, I have a traders community. The link is in the description where people made requests for the stream, and I will now be doing this. Another one is Digibyte. Oh, pair against Bitcoin, because it's not always easy to trade Digibyte against USD. No. As far as Digibyte goes, I'm a little bit concerned myself, to be honest. I really like the project. I really, really do. Like, don't get me wrong. This used to be one of my biggest bags ever. But it's kind of hard to to give this a bullish outcome, because after this massive, massive move up, and I'm talking like really insane. This is a 14,000% move over the course of 2 months. So it's big, it's huge, as Donald Trump likes to say. We just had this huge, huge accumulation distribution period, and we're just making new lows. Like that, there's not really a whole ton that can be said of this. The only like two positive things. I'm bullish on Digibyte, but I believe that it will have to move into this zone where it accumulated and distributed before, like all these times ever since 2015. That's the bad news. The good news, if you take this trend line here, and I'll make it wide to make it a little bit easier to follow. There we go. This can go into the trash. Then we might, and I say might, be creating a descending wedge. This would, for my part, be really bullish. I would be very happy with this, but it remains to be seen. Now, wedges usually break out around the 70% mark. I never really trust wedges that go past the 70% mark. And the good news here is that once it finally breaks out, we will know. Like it doesn't matter if it breaks out here, or if it's gonna break out here. It doesn't really matter. We will be seeing when it breaks out, and if it breaks down, then we know we have to abandon your posts and flee for your lives. So that's what I'm really waiting for. I'm waiting for this upper trend line here to break, and before that, I will personally not get into any short-term Digibyte trades. Um, you know, and that's pretty much it. I'm just waiting. You don't always have to own an asset. NPXS is the next request, Pundi. Now, I've told you guys before, and I will say the exact same thing. This will make a good trade eventually, but not yet. And this is speculative. Like, I'm not entirely sure about this yet, because you have to understand here that NPXS is in price discovery mode. It's making new lows. It's never been so low, and there is no indication of any change of that. The bullish news here is that the RSI is not creating new lows. This might be a descending wedge. So if you want to trade this, what I would look out for is a break of the upper trend line. And just be patient, because this doesn't matter. I mean, this is peanuts. It only differs a few satoshis. And if you go to CoinMarketCap, which I will do now, there we go. You will notice that the market cap isn't crazy high and the volume is good. So if this breaks out, I believe that it will make for some good gains. However, I would not be aiming for these all-time highs right there. That's because, like, for me, this is high risk. You know, I'm a crypto trader, so I'm used to high risk. But if this manages to break out, I would just aim for the first fib levels that we have, which makes 126%, and the second fib level, which makes for 225. Now, of course, if you really believe in Punli, then by all means you should keep it. But this would be my personal trade plan if I were to trade this asset. Next one is ZRX. Not a big fan. Also not a hater. And this will make for an easy trade, at least in my opinion. And I will admit that this had me fooled, like for real, for the reason that I believe that we had a big breakout here, and then it manages to just sneak back below this trend line that I've drawn out for you guys. And as you might notice, it's turning around again. And I'm not entirely sure, but here's my plan at least. It's not very difficult. If like I'm probably not gonna take a trade on this, but if I were, I would feel very comfortable getting in right above this level because every time it went down, this is where it, accumulated, and these upper parts is where it distributed. Now, there might be a risk that if the price of ZRX manages to go back into this zone, it's just going to distribute and then, you know, go to shit again. The bullish news is that the founders of Coinbase are involved in this project. There are 3 Coinbase founders involved in this project. So it has a very good chance to eventually push back above this zone. And when it does, my target will once again, as it has been like for 4 times, be in the upper regions here. And I know this is a broad region, but this is where it distributed. Can't make anything else out of it. So that would make for a trade of about 100%. But for now, considering that it fooled me here and I did lose a little bit of money there, um, I'd rather really not be in a hurry to get back in. Know what I mean? So yeah, that's it for ZRX. So back to Bitcoin. I expect, just in short, let me make this a little bit more clear, that we will eventually quite possibly be doing this. And I should recopy that. I'm sorry. Not sure if I can really show what I mean here, but if you take that from the previous market, you put it there. I don't expect this sharp drop, but if I had to draw this, it might, and I hope it will, obviously, might be looking something like this. And then eventually we will just go to the moon as usual, obviously. The other possibility I do have to notice is that we are going to copy this part right here. And that would mean that this can go into the trash because this first bull run would actually, in that case, represent this first bull run. And this bear market here would represent this short-term bear market, and we could go for a new high. Now, if this happens, and there's no telling if it will, like, I'm not sure, I don't know, I'm not an expert, even though I like to pretend that I am. we could go anywhere from like 30 grand up all the way into like 85,000. Like anybody who claims who knows where the top is obviously lying. This is price discovery. Nobody knows where the top is because there is no former data. I always like to tell people that if you're trading, look left for clues. People could have known or could have educatively guessed that this would be the bottom because this was the previous top. Like something like this. Was a little bit higher, obviously, but you know what I mean. And that's just how it is. Like nobody knows eventually where Bitcoin is going to go. All I know for sure, at least in my own mind, is that it will go to unimaginable places. And with that, I will conclude this live stream because I am out of requests. For the requests that I did not do, for example, Lux, it's because I cannot really chart them on TradingView. So I'm very sorry about that. I hope you guys enjoy your week. I will be doing 1 or 2 more live streams this week, and make sure to join my community. It's in the description. Just click on it. Do it now so you don't forget it. Thanks, guys. Have a good week.